All right, Week 15 season preview. Winding down, we got one more opponent because the rest of the opponents are divisional opponents from the NFC North. We already covered those because we play those 2 times a year. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming in to Fort Fields. The return of Ndamukong Suh. He signed a 1-year deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after they cut Gerald McCoy. Let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They start off with draft. They drafted 5th overall with Devin White and brought in Sean Bunning from Central Michigan, a DB. In the 2nd round, 3rd round, they brought in Jamal Dean, cornerback from Auburn. Another 3rd round pick was a compensatory pick, Mike Edwards, safety from Kentucky. 4th round, they brought in Anthony Nelson, linebacker from Iowa. 5th round, they brought in Matt Gay, kicker from Utah. 6th round, they brought in Scott Miller, receiver from Bowling Green. Terry Beckner Jr., defensive tackle from Mizzou in the 7th round. They also got rid of Deshaun Jackson, or somehow he ended up back up with Philly. Said they got rid of Gerald McCoy. Brought in Ndamukong Suh. So they did a few things this offseason. Biggest thing they did was bringing in Bruce Arians and getting rid of weak-ass Dirk Cutter, their head coach, who took the job from Lovie Smith, who's now at the University of Illinois trying to get that program together, which seems to be impossible. He didn't grow a whole bunch of white hair since being there. And they got a local guy in William Golston. He went to Cass Tech. He was an All-American there. They got Vita Vea, nose tackle on defense. I think he was out of Washington, and Ndamukong Suh. Like they're running a 3-4 in Tampa. Carl Nesby, outside linebacker. Other outside linebacker, Shaquille Barrett, a free agent they brought in. I think also they got Devin White, the rook, in the middle. Inside, they got Levante David, who will be healthy for week 1. Cornerbacks, Carlton Davis and Vernon Hargraves, the 3rd out of Florida. He's been there for a few years now. They got Mike Edwards and Jordan Whitehead at safeties. That's their defense. Offensively, they got Peyton Barmer at running back, Ronald Jones, the 2nd out of USC. They drafted him last year. I think he dealt with some injury. Blaine Gabbert is the backup, and we also know they got Jameis Winston, famous Jameis crab legs at the quarterback position. Chris Godwin, really good receiver. I think he was out of Penn State, Big Ten country. O.J. Howard, he had a big year when he was healthy last year. Really good explosive tight end out of Alabama. Right tackle, DeMar Dotson. Right guard, Alex Kappa. Ryan Jensen as the center. Left guard is Ali Marfit. And they got Reed up. I think they brought in Donovan Smith, the left tackle. Also, the other tight end they playing is Cameron Brate. They brought Brashad Perriman in to stretch the field in place of losing Deshaun Jackson. Mike Evans, obviously, the number 1 receiver. And I think Adam Humphries, the other receiver they had last year, was good in the slot. He ended up in Tennessee. And I more than any personnel move they made, the best move they made was bringing in Bruce Arians, a guy that had went into the booth at CBS. I think he called a preseason game for the Lions last year on CBS, and it just seemed like he had the itch to get back into coaching. And Bruce is a really, really good coach. He liked Jameis Winston. I think he worked him out in the quarterbacks camp when he was in high school or college, and it's one of the reasons he took the job. Kind of like John Gruden. Bruce Arians don't like young quarterbacks. He don't like to develop young quarterbacks. He likes those veteran quarterbacks that's been around his system. You know, he worked with Ben Roethlisberger. He worked in Indianapolis that year. I think he worked, I don't know who was the quarterback. Was it Andrew Luck? I think Andrew Luck was a quarterback that year. He stepped in as the interim head coach because Chuck Pagano got injured. They should have kept him and fired Chuck Pagano. Then he went down to Arizona and got a job with, I think Chuck Pagano got sick. He even got a job with Arizona. He did well with Arizona. It's just that Carson Palmer just didn't have it like he had it before he busted his knee or the leg. The year the Bengals, I thought, was going to win the Super Bowl, and he ended up losing a big lead to the Steelers. I think it was in the 1st round or 2nd round. But Bruce Arians is a good coach. The number one thing about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is that if they can run the ball and give Jameis some assistance where Jameis don't have to drop back 30, 40, 50 times. That's been the theme about a lot of teams in the Lions we talked about this offseason, is having balance and not throwing the ball around 30, 40, sometimes even 50 times a game. If they can get Jameis some balance and he cannot make those mistakes, but it's hard. when your defense is giving up so many points, you playing from behind, you don't have a running back where you can hand it off 15, 20 times a game, or even dump it off. He could do some things in the flats and over the middle, and you got to win the game by putting up points. It's easy. When you have to force the ball, you don't have no balance. Any quarterback gonna have 20 interceptions or a ton of turnovers. No matter if you have Mike Evans or Deshaun Jackson or Julio and Calvin Ridley and Mohamed Sanu. If you don't have balance in the run game and people can just stop your run with just 7 in the box and they can put coverage in the back, you're gonna have to squeeze the ball in tight windows. And that's been the thing with Matthew Stafford. He's really not had a lot of threat in the run game. And if you have threat in the run game, you know, you can run the ball or you can do the short passing game underneath to some of your backs and your receivers. You know, it gives you a higher completion rate, and it also opens up downfield. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers been trying to go downfield and be the greatest show on grass down there, and it hasn't worked. Now Bruce Arians can get that run game going, and also they can build that defense up. But they got some nice pieces to build around on defense, man. Vita Vea, William Golston, really don't see him as a 3-4 defensive end, but he's a strong kid, big kid, 6'7", something like that. David and White in the inside, but they got a long way to go. They got to develop some of those DBs they got. In defense, they looking light still, but they coming along. They got those 2 middle linebackers that can run. You know what I'm saying? They look good up front with Vea, and Golston and Sue. It's just the outside linebackers going to have to get some type of rush. They got to get them an elite rusher in this 3-4 for them to be effective. And they got to hope some of those cornerbacks they drafted of recent develop, or some of those safeties develop. But they defense on the right track. And offensively, they're on the right track. They just got to hope that Ronald Jones II and Peyton Barber can produce something in the rush game. Ronald can catch the ball as well, you know. So, and Peyton can catch a little bit too. But they need a Zeke Elliott type of workhorse running back. But once again, at home, it's another game that some people think the Lions should be a give me. But Bruce Arians, I think Tampa is one of my surprise teams to make the playoffs. Like I said, I'll be doing a big preview show for the NFL probably Monday or Tuesday on my other channel. Check it out, Goodfellas Sports TV. I'll let y'all know on social media in the community tab when it's going to be. So you go over to Goodfellas Sports TV, hit the subscribe button, bell icon button. But I will be notifying on this channel. But, yeah, this could be another trap game. This could end up being a really good team with some rushing, some ball control, and Jameis not, having to win every game with his arm with Mike Evans. Mike Evans always a handful for us when we play him. Cameron Brake, O.J. Howard in the tight ends, they tough. And Chris Godwin is a really good receiver, and he stay open. So with Sue coming back, trying to take Stafford head off, this is a game we should win. But I think Tampa is going to be a surprise team because they got great coaching at the top. And how would you beat Tampa Bay? In my opinion, probably with your receivers. You know what I'm saying? On the outside the hashes, trying to beat some of those younger DBs. They got advantage with Jones, at least on paper. They got advantage with Kenny Galladay on paper. They got some challenges out there. You know what I'm saying? They got some good matchups. Now, the tight end position, it'd be interesting to see if they put White or David on Hockenson or Jesse James. That's going to be interesting. But right now, they linebackers, they roamers, they speed guys, but they don't thump. They don't come downhill. So Lions should have this. This is a fast and quick defense. It's not one of those strong, powerful defenses. And the Lions should have some success running the ball north and south, at least on paper, versus Tampa Bay, similar to what I talked about Dallas Cowboy game a couple of days ago. This is a defense that you don't really want to do toss and stretch plays unless you're going to cut it back in the inside. You want to run right after this defense. They predicated on agility and speed, especially they switching over to a 3-4 this year. There's going to be some adjustments. And William Golston, he don't really get you in the mind of one of those beefy 3-4 guys, but he's a strong kid out of Detroit. When they linebackers are speed guys, but if your offensive lineman and fullback can get to the second level and you can get hands on them, and you really can move the ball north and south. So that's going to be the key, north and south. And offensively, the key going to be is stop the run and make them one-dimensional, make Jameis throw the ball 30, 40 times and eventually turn the ball over and win a turnover battle in the game. But I think it's a game they should win. But Tampa Bay, at least on paper, Tampa Bay is one of my sleeper teams. But, hey, let me know what you guys think. Got one more game to go. I think it's the Denver Broncos, and I'll cover it later on tonight. Then we'll be done with the season preview. Don't forget, we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Reach out to the email. All the information is in the description. Let me know what you guys think about the video. Other than that, I will be doing a prediction video for the Cardinals Monday at some time in the afternoon. We